Alright, hello everyone, and welcome to the very first video draft with Big Nass. And this is our first pack here. Creepo Doll's okay in the right deck. It's not really a card I want to first pick. So really the best cards here are Forbidden Alchemy, Rebuke, Screeching Bat, Burning Vengeance. I mean, you don't first pick Burning Vengeance. It's, yeah, yuck. Um, so, yeah, I mean, these cards are all pretty similar to each other, but, yeah. Rebuke's pretty good, Screeching Bat's pretty good. Like, I think those are the two best cards in this pack. I really wish this was a paper draft so I could just slam this down and just tell everybody next to me that I'm drafting black, but you don't have that luxury online. So, what am I gonna go with? Alright, well, I think I'm gonna go with Rebuke here, because, I mean, Screeching Bat is fine, but it's really not that exciting. So, let's go for it. Hopefully we get past something good. Midnight Haunting, that's a good one. And Voice of Spirit. So, I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I force green-white in every draft, because that's definitely not the case. I've definitely had way more blue-based decks than I've had a white-based or green-based decks. But Midnight Haunting is by far the best card in this pack. Like, the only one that comes close is Voice of Spirit. I mean, this is junk. Yep, so that's what we're going to go with. Another Creepy Doll. Well, hopefully I don't have to face against the double Creepy Doll deck. Not that that's something I'm really all that concerned about. So, Handwire Watchkeep is actually really good. If I knew for sure I was going to be in green-white, then this would be the pick, but it's still a little early to really make any commitments. So, I mean, just losing out on a random Grizzly Bear is worth taking the gamble on this guy. So, yeah, everything else in the pack is mediocre. Like, this guy is much worse than he appears. Like, you really need to be able to block in black decks. I mean, he's pretty good in the black-red deck, but those decks are not as common. So we'll go with the Watchkeep here, and maybe I get to show you guys the red-white deck that I've been doing so well in my paper drafts with. Well, this card is just Banu News, but I mean, this card's pretty good in the right deck, but on a lot of decks it's really hard to get the trigger. This is a fairly solid white card, so I'm probably going to take this one because it's probably the best uncommon in the set as far as draft goes. And I mean, yeah. I mean, if we end up in blue-white, we lose on this guy. If we end up in blue-red, then we lose out on two cards. But I think this card is powerful enough to justify making the switch. So it's unfortunate that we have to pass this guy and pass this guy. This guy's actually really good in the green-white deck, but he's kind of mediocre in blue-white. But yeah, let's go with Grasp, and let's see how it goes. This card is good in the right deck. I mean, obviously decks that have a bunch of humans in them, but otherwise it's okay. I think the pick here is going to be Moon Heron. Nothing else in the pack is really exciting, so that's what we'll go with. It's sort by cost here. Endless Ranks of the Dead. That card is, might as well just say win more on it. Yeah, I mean, I think the pick here is Sensory Deprivation, or Swords of Plowshares, as LSV is fond of calling it. I mean, it's probably a little ambitious to call it Swords of Plowshares. There's probably an inside joke there that I'm not aware of. But, yeah, I like taking that card here. Okay, so this is just a bunch of poo. This card is a legitimate sideboard card. There's nothing else in the pack that really excites me, though. So, I mean, I'm not really interested in playing Lost in the Mist. So I'm going to take the Exorcism in case we do end up in blue-white. It gives us a fairly good sideboard card. And, you know, actually wrecks us if we end up being in blue-white, so that's another consideration, although it's really not much of one. So let's take that. Well, I mean, we're not going to main deck it, so let's hide it for now. Okay, Harvest Pyre is a good one. Getting it this late means that red is pretty open. Dissipate is, I mean, it's a good card, but most decks don't really want it. I mean, it's a deck that if you happen to get drafted, it probably makes the cut about half the time. But I don't think I can pass up a Harvest Pyre here. So, and blue-red is actually a fairly good color combination, so I'm not all upset to be in that. So, I mean, we have a choice here between two mediocre cards, Kessig Wolf and Riot Devils. They're both fine. I like Kessig Wolf a little bit more because it has a better upside, but you do have to leave mana up for it to be an effective blocker. But I think it's better than Riot Devils, so we'll pick that one up. Nothing good here. Cobbled Wings, I've made good use of it before, but that's typically in green-based decks that really need the evasion. In a blue-red deck, probably not. Even blue-white, even less so. So we're just going to rare draft here. I mean, I'm sure this is worth like a third of a ticket or something like that. Okay. This guy's actually solid. I mean, he's not like super exciting or anything, but he makes the cut almost all the time. This is a fairly good card as well, but I think the Scourge is going to be better in this deck, so we'll go with that. It's looking less and less likely that we're playing white. I'll take this just in case we have to play it, but yeah, I really don't like it. And just chaff at this point. So it looks like the blue dried up. I mean, I guess we're pretty committed to red. I guess it really depends on what we get open. What we open, what we get past. Sweet, Zangief is in my draft. So that makes that decision pretty easy. Brimstone Volley's best common in the set. Pretty happy to get it. Again, like white could still be in the equation, but it's looking more like red blue is going to be the color combination rather than red white. But we'll take the Brimstone and see what comes. And Fiend Hunter. Alright, so now we have to make a decision. Fiend Hunter is really good. So, if we look at the cards we already have, we have to choose between Sensory Deprivation, Moon Heron, and Grasp of Phantasm. So we have one really good card and two mediocre ones. And white, we have two very solid cards. So we can always splash this Grasp of Phantasms. I'm not a huge fan of splashing, but you know, you do what you gotta do, right? So we're just gonna take the best card in the pack and hope it works out. Again, I have no problems drafting red-white. So let's go with Fiend Hunter, and hopefully the good times keep rolling. Okay. Well, Blazing Torch is most likely the pick here. Whether we're in blue or white, there's nothing there for either one of those two colors. I mean, the best cards in this pack are Avacyn's Pilgrim, Blazing Torch, Markov Partition, and Screeching Bat. And most of those cards we can't play, so we're just going to pick up the Blazing Torch and move on. Well, that makes me happy I picked up the Fiend Hunter. So it's looking like we're gonna be red-white here. Pretty happy to pick this up. Don't think anything playable will wheel out of this pack, but I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 playable cards in here, so it could happen, but I'm not holding my breath on that. So let's pick up this Bonds of Faith, and probably can start hiding some blue cards.